Aston Villa 1, Leeds United 1, and that late goal stings. For large parts of that game, we looked controlled, composed, and capable of seeing it out. But football can be cruel, and Villa found their moment right at the end. The question now is this a point gained at a tough ground, or two dropped? Let's get into it. Aston Villa 1, Leeds United 1, and it's one that stings a little because of the timing. But when we step back from the emotion of the 89th minute, there's actually quite a lot to be positive about in that performance. As expected, there were several changes from the FA Cup game. It was good to see Struijk, Rodon, Stach and D. Seal back in the starting 11. That gave the side a bit more familiarity and balance. The big talking point, though, was Darlow in goal. Personally, I preferred Darlow to Perry, but I know there were some in the fan base who felt Perry had earned his place after the FA Cup performance. In fairness to Darlow, he justified his selection today. Leeds started well. We were up for it from the first whistle. Both sides struggled early on to really find their rhythm. There were a number of overhit crosses from both teams that could have been far more dangerous. I thought Goodmanson started a little nervy. He was gill. Tie of one or two overhit passes and just didn't look fully settled. But as the half progressed, Leeds looked the more composed side. The press was good. We shut down space well. We created the clearer opportunities. Seal made a superbly timed run that almost put him clean through. Just a slightly heavy touch, and the Villa keeper reacting quickly turned it into a corner. Villa, for all their possession, struggled to create anything meaningful. Darlow wasn't really tested. And then, on 31 minutes, a moment of real quality. Free kick in a threatening position, everyone expecting a delivery into the box. But Stach notices the keeper slightly off to the right, and instead of crossing, he fires into the top left corner. Yes, the commentator mentioned the keeper's position, but that still takes confidence and execution. It was a superb strike. The rest of the half followed a similar pattern until the final 5 minutes when Villa had their best spell. Darlow produced an excellent save under pressure. At the break, Villa 0, Leeds 1, and fully deserved. The second half began with no changes from Villa, but Leeds replaced Goodmanson with Bizol, and that felt justified. Goodmanson had looked a bit out of sorts. The game initially followed the same script as the first half. Villa showed a bit more urgency, but Leeds remained organised and disciplined. Their keeper actually had a strong game overall, despite being slightly out of position for our goal. Then Villa made their substitutions, and the tempo changed. They began countering more quickly, especially down the right-hand side, and they started to look more threatening. To our credit, we defended well. Farke's second change, Metjeron for Aronson, was an interesting one. I liked it. Bringing on a striker at that stage showed intent. The best form of defence is attack, and it almost paired off immediately. A brilliant run from Stach down the right, a superb cross into the box, and Metje meets it strongly, only for a very good save. He perhaps could have done better, but it was his first touch of the game. Hard to be too critical. As the clock ticked down, Villa began to build pressure. They were seeing more of the ball and asking more questions. And then, in the 89th minute, a ball into the box, nodded back across the 6-yard area, and Abraham loops a header into the top left corner, just beyond D. Seal's leap and out of Darlow's reach. Slightly fortunate perhaps, but they had been growing into the game. It's one of those goals that just drains you in the moment. The stoppage time that followed was nerve-wracking, end to end, both sides pushing for a winner. But in the end, it finishes 1-1. There was a lot to like. The structure, the pressing, the discipline, and Stach for me was man of the match. Not just for the goal, which was outstanding, but for the work he did in midfield, constantly shutting down space and preventing Villa from capitalising on possession. Yes, the timing of the equaliser hurts, but Villa Park is not an easy place to go. Leeds looked organised, competitive, and difficult to break down for large periods. On another day, that's 3 points. Today, it's 1, and perhaps one we reflect on as a solid away performance rather than just 2 dropped. So in the end, it finishes 1-1 at Villa Park. Frustrating because of the timing, but a disciplined, competitive performance away from home, and plenty to build on. Interestingly, I did have this one down as a 1-1 in the prediction league, so that's 5 points from the very first game. We'll see how the rest of the Matchday 27 fixtures play out, and we'll break down the full leaderboard in the Matchday 28 predictions video later this week. Let me know in the comments, is that a point gained or 2 dropped? As always, marching on together.
Oh, we're all Leeds. Yes, we are united in our song. From the streets of Yorkshire, we lift our heads up high, with the spirit of the city running deep beneath the sky. Days of glory, days of pride, from history